Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4, the New Order, Last Days of Europe, with me, Papa Omega, and the Empire of Japan. So in the last episode we ended on 21st of March 1963. We are just about to get, in 10 days, the glory of the sphere. We are finally involved in the conflict at Madagascar, though I apologize, in the last episode I probably spent a lot of time reading this more than I needed to, but honestly it's a bit of a weird one here. I'm trying to figure out how we can get better at it, but so far we're doing good. The support for us has grown from 40% to 45%, and the support for United States dropped from 60 to 55%. So we're doing something right. We'll see if we get any more options here, but the stage is progressing through deterioration to another one. And hopefully when we can send in some forces, it's gonna get better. Now, our units have been constantly improving. We have been drilling, training, and so on. But we've already even equipped one of our expeditionary force, the first Kutei Haishidan, with the equipment of self-propelled anti-air and self-propelled artillery. So that is really good. Now we've also changed a couple of our units from the, I forgot what it's called, the Chiai Shidan? Yeah, Chian Shidan to Hohei Shidan, and I wanted to check if we had a major increase in military spending, but I don't see it. 14.86. I'll have to check at the end of the year as we keep progressing. I think at this point it's safe to say that we can actually do it for the other units as well, because the Chiai Shidan actually needs to go, and I don't mind if we pay a little bit more because our economy is doing good. So let's go with Hohei Shidan here. It's gonna cost us, it's basically an extra division here. So we'll see what that does for us. And before we unpause, we have an event here called, and we sure as hell are. Finally, the team went over one final review. This was the actual last one before they move on to the next stage. It was a review of reviews of review, as everybody involved had been briefed countless times to ensure all data was factored in and all bases covered. Everyone had to be reminded a final time that no matter the consequences, what is being done here is right and just. The Navy has refused to aid the investigation, and the only likely explanation is to save their own hides as the hammer comes down. More importantly than anything else, the Navy is clearly extremely guilty here, and any consequences they will face will be beyond the deserved. The final preparation were at hand, the team began to transition and move forward. Despite all that has happened, only then did the true gravity of the situation begin to sink in for many of those gathered. They were no longer helping Tachi and Kodaira investigate just another murder. They were ripping the curtain away to expose the corrupt underbelly of a cheating, lying organization, no matter what was really there. They could well be changing Japanese history, for better or for worse. Onwards, we're not done yet. Well, let's see. I'm thinking the glory will... Yes, the glory will give us 100 political power, which we will then save. And see. So what does this one do? We'll share information with America that will make them direct their attention and efforts to the selected node. On the later stages of the war, it is only America that can influence nodes controlled by the colonialists, so that coordination with our strategy is key. Okay, I don't know if we're seeing anything happening there, because right now I think Germans are sending their own units there. Technocratic Nazis. I remember it was a bit harder to win this than you would have probably guessed. But they've also changed it. Yeah, the Germans control all of the cities, which I think are the nodes, aren't they? Yep, okay, so they control the nodes. In the north, we have the Malagasy Rebellion. And the rest of the area is a complete anarchy. Gotcha. Team leader. Everything hinged on this raid. Subsequently, everything hinged on the leader. He wouldn't have a coward at the head of such a monumental event, an event that could change the course of Japan as a nation. He needed someone he could trust, someone who wasn't entangled in the conspiracy. A police officer would not do. They couldn't be trusted with a gun. Let alone the most important raid in the history of the East. A soldier was not the one to get it done either. He'd just follow the orders of the state and kill some civilians along the way. It had to be a detective. Kodaira and Tachi jumped out. Tachi was a sprightly, naive Osaka transfer, certainly quick with a handgun and quick with spirit, but he wasn't experienced with commanding groups and not a cynic like every officer in Tokyo. The boy was used to the small-town Yakuza activities in Osaka and didn't have too much dirt on his hands. Most importantly, he's a meticulously careful planner. Nothing will go unthought or unwritten, certainly a good choice. On the other hand was Kodaira, old, broken, cynical. The blood on his hands never dried, and his rage against the corruption of the state, the corruption that had killed so many, never ceased. He was a loose cannon, but perhaps exactly what the raid needed was a loose cannon. Hardened by the labyrinthine alleys of Tokyo, he didn't break or collapse under anything short of death and knew how to lead a team from years of practice. It was taking a risk in a man who had no reason to trust the state, but perhaps it is worth it in a time like this. I'm thinking we're gonna go with Kodaira. I think this experience of his... I mean, Tachi would be great as, as an experiment, but Kodaira is the guy for the job. He is... his experience is the reason why I chose him, pretty much. And that he will not get surprised or shocked with anything that we will see. Okay, we can reinforce the ground game now. So we can do it only in the nodes that we control. Not here. Okay, so let's go with this one. That one is a little bit less hours. Factionalism. Okay, we get 1 extra percentage. Distribute weapon supplies. Second Caribbean region declared war on the Dominican Republic. Oh, awesome. Caribbean War. I don't remember this one. So here's the Dominican Republic. Puerto Plata invasion. Legionnaire Council. Around sphere. No factories, but you get 6 divisions. They get 6 divisions, but no factories either, so that's gonna be just a hand-to-hand combat, basically. The Puerto Plata invasion. The collapse of the Triumvirate has upturned much of Europe's geopolitical position, and the aftershocks still ripple, now crossing an ocean. The Dominican Republic under Rafael Trujillo has long acted as a gateway into the Americas for the former European Axis powers, overseeing trade agreements while evading abortive assassinations orchestrated by the United States. Trujillo's luck today seems to have run thin. The Caribbean Legion, an army of anti-fascist volunteers led by Spanish Republican exile Alberto Bayo, have landed in Puerto Plata, intending to oust the Generalissimo. In conjunction with them, an American and Cuban Air Force are collaborating in bombing runs on the key Dominican positions in the north. As reports of mutinies and revolts trickle in from inside the Dominican Republic, it is clear that the fight for its future has now begun. The Caribbean island chain buckles. Well, we'll see if they can be supported by the Germans or not. Anyway, we finished the glory of the sphere, gained 100 political power and production efficiency growth plus 5% and factory output plus 5%, and now the riches continue. Now that we solved our economic problems, we can focus on more pressing matters, such as the military and social policy. The system we built has a troublesome foundation, but that shouldn't concern us for now. It'll take years until the cracks start to show, and by then we will be in a much better position to work on the underlying issues. I don't think that's a wise approach, honestly. Until then, we can lie back and enjoy the splendid results of our little keikaku. So GDP growth will increase by 0.7%, which is really good because we're going to get to about 5.5%, which would greatly also increase the yearly surplus, because the growth should translate directly to the surplus, honestly. Oh, hold on. I think that we now have the options. Yep, we could distribute weapon supplies. The Malaxi Rebellion controls the node, which is not true for any of them. Okay, so never mind, we cannot do this. And I'm actually going to save up that 100 political power just to make sure we are ready for any unforeseen changes. Okay, we lost two production units, but that's fine. How's the current production of the 3.63? That's pretty good. We'll be soon able to distribute another one into the IJA Expeditionary Force. The military spending increased a little. Okay, so it did reflect it. Okay, but not by much, and actually the growth of the economy got it under control. And debt to GDP 96.1%. That's amazing. Debt interest actually increased a little. It was 1.5. Now it's 1.509. Rate planning equipment. We pray that the bullet will not be used in this raid. Ostensibly, it's an information gathering mission. If our raid, a very condoned secret plan, was to result in the death of an officer or civilian, it would likely mean the end of any real resistance to the conspiracy that has gripped every level of the state. The corruption and the crimes as a result of this corruption would continue unfettered while law enforcement sits by the wayside. Wait, what? Do I mean the end of any real resistance to the conspiracy? Ah, okay. Like, from our side. Therefore, death is not an option. Still, we must bring weapons. If a soldier resists our raid, there is no option but to fire back, if not for our own self-defense. The argument remains as to what weapons to bring. Anything too strong will be both cumbersome and conspicuous. Something too small might mean the stopping power won't be able to punch through the plate armor of the soldier. A few of the more police-minded traditional officers suggest simply bringing along standard weapons from the armor like riot shields, pistols, and small submachine guns. These are readily available and officers are certainly familiar with them. However, they're not designed to use against military units with heavy armor, being used to control civilians and criminals. A few detectives and specialized officers suggest what they see as an obvious solution: use military-grade weapons against military-grade troops. Semi-automatic rifles are also at the Tokyo Armory for use against heavier, well-armored targets. The high caliber would cut through the armor used by soldiers like butter. A couple of issues remain. Bureaucracy would have to wade through to get to these weapons, and bureaucracy drowning in corruption. Officers aren't trained in these weapons in the slightest. Heavy training will be required, and even with this, they won't be skilled in comparison to other weapons. Nope, white weapons are familiar. We're not gonna, go crazy. I mean, we're not planning to shoot, so let's have something that we can shoot with at all. Okay, Militär Verwaltung Madagascar declared one of the disconnected settlements of Madagascar. Okay. So there's no longer anarchy? Oh no, oh god, they actually expanded heavily. And the Malaxi Rebellion now has the north and south. This is the anarchy. So did the change come? Yes, stage 2 conflict. Okay, so what can we do here? Distribute weapon supplies and emphasize strategic importance. Restore control. Okay, the Madagascar rebellion needs to control the selected node. Do we have sufficient strength on the node? Does not have modifier tamed territory. Okay, transfer the Calcutta office. Against Japanese. Okay, Madagascar rebellion gains Japanese military advisors, which is really good. Jumpstart Madagascar arms production. We will spend 0.032 billion, which we will add to the debt. Madagascar rebellion will increase their cost. Increase our GDP by 8% for a total of 0.0. Okay, so their GDP will increase. And increase special advisors. Okay, and we can send a unit. Amazing. Okay, so first of all, can we send a unit now? Yes, we can send 2 divisions. So if we send this, then we can send 3. So that is what we want to do. So foreign policy, increase special advisors. And which one do you control? This one. So restore control. And we could transfer the Calcutta office. I'm afraid that if we do that without first sending the units and we lose it, it's gonna be a huge issue. So instead, let me just send you the volunteers now. We can send 3 divisions, so let's send the expeditionary force and send air volunteers. We can send 0 air wings. Well, okay. That is actually understandable and completely fine. Anything else we can do here? I don't want to go too overboard. Jumpstart their economy. Sure, okay, that is a general one, so let's do that. Now we have a 50% support and transferring the Calcutta office. We're gonna use this city as our hub, but we need to make sure that we actually control it and that there will be no enemies close enough to actually hurt us. Okay, so what is this one? Here comes a new challenger. Legally, this meeting was not taking place in an outpost that did not exist between men that were not there. It was not taking place on a hidden command vessel on just the right side of the international waters. There were not 3 men in the briefing room, a lieutenant, a major, and a colonel, huddled around the map of Madagascar, where they were not lending support to local rebels in their struggle against colonial forces. The lieutenant certainly did not provide a report on the emergence of a new force, and because he was not present with the support, the colonel did not snarl at the lieutenant. "You know who we are, yes?" "Yes, sir." "Then I shouldn't need to explain," said the colonel, who did not let the folder fall from his hands and onto the table. "How fucking stupid it would be to support the communists." "Not necessarily." The major did not slide the folder on the table and open it again. The colonel did not raise an eyebrow. "We don't need or want the AKFM to win. That would be ridiculous. But we can always use them to fight. And if we want them to fight well, they'll need our help. And if, by our intervention, which would not happen, the AKFM's stock in the coalition increases, what do you think will happen then?" "It's a risk, sir," the lieutenant didn't say. "But think about it this way. If we can push the AKFM to fight where we don't want our boys fighting, then that gives us a better chance in winning the war on our terms." No decisions were made because this meeting did not take place, and even if we entertain that ridiculous prospect, there is no way that they decide to support the AKFM. The guns that the AKFM bore a month later, they fell off the back of a cargo ship. Supporting the AKFM will give us a decision related to supporting them with arms in later stages of the conflict. Additional arms support for them grants a bonus to the FUF national spirit. No, seriously, they didn't. Okay, let's keep our options open. We'll see if anything that happens here is, you know, worth it. The entry method. Okay, let me just see. Okay, this is actually looking good, so I think we can transfer the office and we'll send our units in here to protect it. So let's do that. Transfer the Calcutta office. Wait, what? Did it actually hurt us? How and why? It's a bit weird. I don't understand why that hurt us, but okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see anyway. So, the entry method. Plants lit up the floor of the complex. The occasional wind would send paper sprawling and staffers chasing vainly after them. But most of the important information has been taped down and written, or tapped down. Taped down and written in scrawling notes, curving and dipping around the edges. A back door here, a hidden room there, an armory just in the corner, in the range of the alarm system's trigger, and a section of fence where the weeds grew just tall enough to disguise, if necessary, a human-sized object in the foliage. The raid took shape, one action at a time, one maneuver after another. Tin soldiers were used for planning, Kodeya and Tachi having both worked the men to physical exhaustion by putting them through drills and pushing them to a physiological brink in endless cycles of paperwork. Thankfully enough, only the two of them were needed for the decision confronting them, and in all probability just one of them could have done the job better. Would the raid use a frontal approach in military action, or would it attempt to infiltrate from areas of inactivity and low surveillance? Auxiliary military police forces could handle themselves best in direct conflict situation, and Kodairas recommended a short entry into the compound. The schedule would be short and the casualties would be limited. Tachi, on the other hand, advised that an indirect approach would allow for the minimalization of casualties and also allow for more accurate on-the-ground action. Both are variable degrees of suitable, but only one option would be taken. So in this case, I'm more tempted to work with Tachi. Bust in and find the goddamn evidence or give them a warning. We want the jig to be up. Shino. Tachi, on the other hand, advised that an indirect approach would allow for the minimization of casualties and also allow... Give them a warning. No, bust in and find the goddamn evidence. That's what we want. Okay, and we finally finished most of the buildings that we wanted. So now let's look at, as we said in the previous episode, the infrastructure. Where could we build it? What are the best places? Okay, we're getting some... Is that uranium? I think so. Anything in here? No. It's here. Okay, so let's improve this one as well. And then that's to no, this one. And this one, Fukushima. And this one, and this one. There's oil in here, and in here. Oh, this one is really good. Okay, let's put Karafuto up. I want it to be a priority. And we're also going to build some other stuff in the meantime. Schools and prisons. Extra stability, yeah. Now let's go with schools and prisons. So some here, a couple over here, couple over here, one over here, and we've seen a really good effect over here. And prisons. Wait, no, those were prisons, so schools. Let's build those as well in places where we know things are pretty good. Okay, so now I have to just load like this. Just make sure that it's adequately mixed. So that we get an optimal, you know, not one-sided focus. Saitama can go over here. Kind of like this. We keep these structural projects over here. 2 schools over there. That seems about right. Okay, so we've scheduled an improvement for our project. Now let's go back and look at Madagascar. When will all units arrive? 10th of April. Okay. So that's right about now. Liberals retain power in Canada. And we finished logistics company number 3. So, you guys. Okay, so we have you guys. You're the least trained, but the best equipped. Oh, and you could get a medal. No, you couldn't. Okay, there's no medals in this game. Everybody is just sad. So you guys go over here. We're gonna work with you on a separate basis. You are gonna go over here, and you guys are gonna go over here. So we'll have 3 places to push. From here, actually from here, and from here. And because we finished the logistics company, it is really fine. We're working on the attack helicopter company. The recon company, yep. That is good for our special units. Improvements in radio technology changes the way reconnaissance missions can be executed, enabling rapid communication of gathered intelligence using new encrypted frequencies. So let's do that one and end this episode with Liberals retain power in Canada. After a bitterly fought election between the current minority Liberal Party government led by Lester Pearson and former Prime Minister John Diefenbaker's Progressive Conservatives, the people of Canada have spoken, re-electing the current party and giving them a strong mandate for the next 4 years. The newly re-elected Pearson has a lot on his plate, making promises for a new constitution, healthcare, economic reforms, and trying to woo and satisfy the increasingly dissatisfied Quebecois and alienated Western provinces to remain with the Confederation and bring peace, order, and good government from sea to sea. The new government will have its work cut out for them. Does Canada actually have a focus tree? I never really checked. They should. No, they don't. Okay. Special Forces Training. Well, don't mind if I do. So let's go with next one. Death chance on all operative capture plus 10%. Defection chance offset. Whatever that means. I think we want it. Oh, though the death on death on capture is actually not great. Okay, so you guys are almost there, which will allow us to attack over here. No, I wonder if it's not better to go and take a Mahayenga and we can encircle these guys. Restore control. Okay. Oh, we can't. Okay, so let's restore control over here. Again, that puts us slightly higher. So that attack failed, which means they will push probably somewhere else. Unfortunately, we still cannot send in more units or any air support, and I expect that the Germans did. No, actually they didn't. Okay, that's cool. So, anyway, on that note, we're gonna end the episode here. Economy is doing great. Yep, our yearly surplus is increasing, which is good. The real GDP growth is also increasing, which is good. And with this 0.75 increase, we are gonna get to way above 5.5% yearly growth, which means that the yearly surplus is going to continue increasing dramatically as well, which in fact is going to lower the debt servicing because we're repaying the debt, the actual realistic debt, and it's going to get better and better as we progress through snowball effect. So thank you very much for joining me. See you in the next episode with more Go Prosperity Sphere in Japan.